everybody, it's Mr. Wonderful back for one of these Dansette vinyl disc programs, and today I've got a little clue for you is who we're going to get. I've been bopping around the kitchen and the dining room to these guys, and hopefully with a bit of luck we'll get one of the smartest guys in Dansette here this morning. Yes everybody, it's the top DJ, musician, producer, all-round conga man, Mr. Smoove. Okay then, Mr. Smoove, what wonderful and rare vinyl records have you brought over from your New York City studio over the street for us to hear today? Your roots of music.
A lot of these records stay in my DJ box. Like I went around the studio trying to find loads of different stuff, and then I looked in my 7-inch box that I take out when I DJ, and loads of these jumped at me. I was like, oh, that's relevant, that's relevant. So yeah.
Oh, lovely jubbly. Okay then, Mr. Smoove, would you like to start off this morning with maybe a sound from your childhood, growing up with your mum and dad? That would be lovely.
Yeah, my dad had a lot of records, and my earliest memory is hearing The Police. But my dad actually was into, like, you know, Jimi Hendrix, The Animals, Van Morrison, what was his favourite artist again? Joe Cocker, stuff like that. And Nina Simone, Ray Charles, a lot of like that black music fundamentally, really. But he was quite a rocker as well, you know. He had some AC/DC, he had some bizarre records. He used to buy out the cheap bins, you know, like from supermarkets. So that always amazed us. And obviously I wasn't really interested in that when I was a kid. I was more into, like, I don't know, fast rap and electro, breakdancing. So, but the earliest form that I sort of really pricked my ears up, I think it must have been the drums or just the sounds of the band, was The Police. I really liked the sound of the albums, because all of his sisters, he had about 8 sisters, and all of his sisters used to like The Police as well. So whenever we went to a house party, you know, at this point I was probably about 12 years old, and I would hear, in fact I was younger, I would hear The Police, you know, like Walking on the Moon, all the stereotypical Police songs. But there's one song that I really liked, and it's this one. It's called When the World is Running Down, you make the best of what's still around. And this 45 actually is really, really rare. Yeah. I think that's Preston from the Philippines.
Wow.
I think, so very rare.
Oh yes, remember Melda Marcos, First Lady of the Philippines? Maybe she left that Police record when she ran away with all her shoes somewhere. Maybe. Anyway, let's move on, Mr. Wonderful, and have some more early memories of your music. Something we can get up and dance to, please, Mr. Smoove.
Probably the earliest memories really was electro, when I heard the Street Sound series, Electro 1, and I was discovering breakdance, as I mentioned earlier, so I was into body pop and stuff like that. And but one of the first tunes that really grabbed me was a song by Shaka Khan, it's quite an obvious song, I Feel For You, written by Prince originally, and it just blew my mind. The fact it had a rap on the intro, and it had scratching on it, and it was, what year was it? 1984. So I was like 13 then, and it literally just, and her vocal is like, even to this day, it's just like right up there. And this record will never, it's got Stevie Wonder playing on it as well actually. this record just is timeless. It's just an amazing piece of music. And this version here that my friend gave me on 45 is actually a very rare version where it starts with the drums, a really long drum intro, like most 7-inches just go straight to the point. But this is a 7-inch. I think it's a Spanish pressing or something. That's the Shaka Khan.
Brilliant.
I'll feel for you.
Yeah.
So I'll play you this, a bit of this.
I think we've all heard this one, but
Yeah, exactly. See, this is the got the drum break on the start.
right.
It's crazy that how long the drum break is. 7-inch. It must be a mistake.
Chaka Khan, Shaka Khan, let me rock, Shaka Khan. Let me rock, it's all I wanna do, Shaka Khan. Let me rock, Shaka Khan. Let me rock, gonna feel for you, Shaka Khan. What you wanna do? Do you feel for me? When I feel for you, Shaka Khan. Let me tell you what I wanna do. I wanna love you, wanna hug you, wanna squeeze you too. Let me take it in my arms, let me feel you with my charm, Shaka. Cause you know that I'm the one that keep you warm, Shaka. I make you love it, it's a physical dream. I wanna rock, Shaka, baby, that you make me wanna swim.
And it's great to have a 45 that you can mix in my DJ sets where the drum break's that long. It's like, I've never found a 7-inch like that where the drums are like, it's totally unnecessary. So I absolutely love that. Thanks to Paul Waller for giving me that version. It's a mystery, but there you go.
Oh, I love that one too, Smoove wrote that. Boy, I've got a bit of a sore bum doing that B-boy dance. Hey, where are we getting more then?
Early days I was at like boogie and funk before I probably discovered rap, but I knew I wanted to make music from sampling, and my cousin had this record which was David Bendeth called Feel the Real. It's a disco record really, but and it used to change hands for silly money. I don't know why. I mean, it's a great track and it's been reworked into house versions and all sorts, but it was on a label called Sidewalk, which was kind of like a strange independent label, but David Bendeth was one of those like, he could play everything, guitar, bass, the drums, and this is just an amazing song, The Sidewalk.
Cool. Yeah.
So this was a big influence on me. I need to take the 45 adapter off in the middle of there.
Yes, I've been trying to tell you how I feel. I know what I feel when you got to be. But so far, I've not been able to make you see. I've been loving you for so long. Now I'm just trying to make a fool out of me. I gotta make you happy.
There you go. I mean, I've probably got to mention, I won't play these, but I've probably got to mention these at the same time when you ask that question. Prince has to go in there, because like, some people either love or hate Prince. Well, I obviously don't like everything by Prince, but Housequake was one of the first tracks that, really switched me on to Prince. The elements of funk that he had, and obviously this track, which is I Wanna Be Your Lover. It's just straight up disco with like fantastic arrangements. Love that record. So I still play that in my DJ sets, like, to answer your question. And earliest days, actually, before I got into rap music and stuff, it was this track by Eddie Rosemond called Wake Up and Move It, Funk It, which again used to change hands for stupid money back in the day. And it's a high energy song, so I was into like Sylvester, because the club wasn't a club, I wasn't old enough, it was like a teens club, you know what I mean, like early doors on the weekend you used to go, and they used to play, there was a guy called Stesh, and he used to play all this high energy music, and it was great for dancing, like Hamilton, Bo Hammond, and this amazing record called Funk It. But I used to go to Hitsville to buy my records, and it was so expensive, Hitsville, because they were all imports. And Hitsville was iconic. It was just a tiny shop at the top of the stairs at Eldon Gardens in Newcastle with the American flag hanging outside. It was like, you know, and I absolutely buzzed getting on the train from Sunderland to Newcastle with my £20 or whatever I had, and that's all I had. Like, and to buy one record, that was it. I'd probably get a Big Mac and a record, and you know, my train back, that was it. But so I had to be really careful what I bought. But I remembered like buying the Sylvester album, which just, you know, it's like that kind of stuff, that high energy, like. But it blew me mind as a kid. It was around the same period as like when Pet Shop Boys brought out West End Girls, you know. So I was playing the 7-inch of West End Girls and then putting the Sylvester album on. And then my sister had a few 7-inches, and one of them was like Imagination, Just an Illusion, that I love that kind of sound. So those records have massively influenced me, like, and still stay with me today, like even in my productions of making music. It's quite important really to me.
Whew. I'm all worn out after that one. Yeah, I need a drink. Hey, I tell you what, I'm all mashed up there. Actually, Mr. Smoove, talking of mashed up, could you tell the viewers how you do your remixes, please?
It depends. There's two elements of remixing. Like, one of them is like doing mashups, illegal samples, you know, like taking a song, depending on how many parts that you can see that you can utilise with it. You haven't got access to the stems, in other words. And then the other side is where you've been paid and commissioned to do a remix, and they send you all the parts, all the stems, all the different parts, like the drums, the guitar, the bass, so you can do what you want with them. So I'm doing a lot of that at the moment, which is great considering we're in lockdown, or kind of coming out of it, but that's helped me, like, you know, keep a living really.
Obviously, Smoove, all your smoothing throughout stuff's all well written. But do you ever consider the lyrics when you were doing your remixes?
I mean, to be honest, if the lyrics are too cheesy, I won't work on the song. That's what it comes down to. It's like, it's got to have some substance, you know what I mean?
Because you did some gospel stuff, didn't you? With
Voices of Virtue.
Yeah. So I mean, that's pretty sacred stuff, and a lot of it's probably more religious.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I sat down with the Voices of Virtue, we said, look, I mean, I said I'm not religious. I says, but I totally respect what he's doing, where he's come from. I says, we've got to find somewhere in the middle. I don't want to force you to write lyrics that you're not comfortable with. And in the same way, I don't want to harp on about Jesus and God, you know what I mean? There's clever ways, like Candy Staton, she's religious, but all of our music is about God and stuff, but it doesn't say the word God. That's the clever thing about it, you know? Love is God in itself, and so the Voice of Virtue, we just wrote some stuff together, and that's what we did, just kept it subliminal.
Okay, Smoove, you've had a few different haircuts over the progress of time. So, what rare and soulful records have changed your musical taste over time?
There's a couple of rare things I've got here. I'm really, like, some of my favourite artists as the years progressed. I really got into these. George Benson. You know, his early albums, I first heard George Benson from the Love Times Love album, you know. It was like a compilation thing. And then I got into like his really early stuff, like Shape of Things to Come, and then his jazz, and it was just mind blown. It really was. But this song is The World Is a Ghetto. This is actually the full version on a 7-inch, which is again quite rare. But it's just an amazing record, literally. I must have played this, it's always in my top 10, I must have played this at every set I've ever done. The string arrangement in it alone is just mind blowing. I'll come back to that in a minute. Things like this, Moog, Jean-Jacques Perret, EVA, you know, like, that's just incredible. Again, that's very rare, but an amazing record. And this one is a super rare. Marvin Gaye, Trouble Man, but on the other side is T Plays It Cool, which I love the drums on it. So I'd love to remix that. I'd love to get the stems of that. But yeah, they're like a couple of mentioned, and then this one as well. Jose Feliciano, I'm a huge fan of him.
Right.
And this version he does of Golden Lady, Stevie Wonder's song, which is fantastic. In fact, it was, everyone used to like go on about someone won X Factor or one of those kind of programs, and he did a version of Come On Baby Light My Fire. And basically everyone said, his version's fantastic, it's much better than the Doors. And I was really annoyed because basically it was actually Jose Feliciano's version that he was doing, not the Doors version, exactly the same. So I was like, no, you need to check Jose Feliciano. So yeah.
Which one of these are you going to play then?
I'm going to have to play you Nature Boy. I mean, The World is a Ghetto by George Benson, because it's just always in my top 10. Whenever I get asked for top 10, it's always in there.
Oh, great.
So here we go.
Walking down the street, oh yeah, looking at the sky, starry eyed, searching for a place, weary eyed, crying in the night.
Amazing, because the instrumentation on it and the playing, the Rhodes playing, the drumming, it's just so on point. And the production's incredible. Yeah, love that record.
Smoove, I'm knackered after all that funky beats there. That was terrific. Tune that one. Oh, it was terrific of you. Need to slow it down. Have you got any records by ladies?
Helene Smith, You Gotta Be a Man. That's a fantastic 45. Our vocal performance on that is brilliant. But actually, on the other side is Frank Williams' version, doing the same song. And the register he hits is ridiculous. It's incredible. That also never leaves my box. But the other female I want to mention is one of my favourite singers of all time, as well as Shaka Khan, obviously, is Gladys Knight. And everyone thinks of Gladys Knight as this really sort of sad singer, you know, because with the Pips, she did lots of like mellow, quite not depressing, beautiful ballads, that's the word, but not really into that. But she's done some incredible stuff, and the video of this is unreal when she's dancing in this red suit with all these guys. It's Bogie Bogie, which is originally written by Ashford and Simpson.
Oh, wow.
So it's a great tune. So yeah, this is always in my DJ sets. Again, the music's incredible, the string arrangements, just mind-blowing, like such a good record. So she did do some very upbeat stuff. I'd love to work with Gladys Knight.
Okay, Smoove, of all these wonderful and rare vinyl records, which one of them would you give Mrs. Smoove your wife for Christmas? If you'd give her any.
For Christmas, either no, not that. If you're looking for sentiment, probably this, just to make her feel good.
Right.
This is a version by, because there's a few versions of this, but this is my favourite version of this. I'm a Good Woman, which has been sung by loads of people. This version's by a band called Cold Blood, and it's unbelievable. So this was a record I bought in Germany in year 2000, a long time ago. And the record shop had just opened that day, and I literally bought every record in the shop. This is it, Unique, the record shop. Used to be a record label as well, but it still is. Henry Storch, who passed away, he opened the shop that day. Anyway, listen to this.
And I know, I said I know that you got another woman somewhere around. But hey, I'm a good woman. I'm a good woman. Such a good woman. Don't treat me like dirt.
But yeah, I would give that to my wife, just so she'd wake up and feel good.
And Smoove, I think you'd take it to the pub afterwards, wouldn't you, for a bit of a Christmas escapism there. Maybe perhaps the one named after your album.
What's it called? Combasara.
Oh yeah, the crab asada.
Okay, Smoove, thank you very much for bringing all those rare vinyl discs over to the dining room here in Gateshead, and thank you again for a really wonderful show. So, can we hear your final discs now, please? And I believe one's a Champion Jack Dupree, really good. I had the honour of picking them up off the hotel bar floor in New Orleans in 1991. Yeah, what you believe?
Well, my dad had this, one of his albums was a compilation called Blues Power or something, and you see it in charity shops all the time, and it's a great album, but you know, it's got Spencer Davis on and a few other great blues artists that, like, for that time. But it was on the label Decca anyway. There was a song on there by Champion Jack Dupree, and I first heard it and I went, wow, it's more like funk blues really. But I was blown away by it, called Barrel House Woman. He's done a few versions of Barrel House Whiskey and Barrel House Trouble or whatever. But this song, and I managed to get the 7-inch, and I hunted high and low for this for 30 years now. And I literally just got it like last year for a lot of money. But I absolutely love that record. I'll have to play that one.
You have to, because
these need mentioning. In that same vein, I love, obviously I got into hip hop, but I got into hip hop because of the music, the samples that they used. I wasn't so much into the rap so much, but then I came to like the rap, you see, because it was all rhythm. So Big Bad John, Big John Hamilton, that's a fantastic record that Big Daddy Kane sampled. He was a very famous rapper. Not that one, I mean that's a great record, but no. Eddie Bo, this is like
New Orleans.
really early. I Found a Little Girl. It's more like rockabilly really, but it's just an unbelievable record. And I thought I'd lost it actually, because it's been in my box for years. I thought I'd lost it, and I recently just found it and I was over the moon because I just couldn't find it anywhere.
Do you want to play that, a little bit of that?
Yeah, it's brilliant this. Where did I put these out? Oh, it's still on. It's pure Ray Charles, really, is that, let's face it, but it's just a fantastic record. And usually when I'm DJing, you know, I play all sorts when I'm DJing, from rap to disco to funk, all the stuff I've just showed you. And I do tend to play this sort of stuff late at night when everyone's had a few, you know, because it goes down, everyone's up for dancing, and it always goes down a storm. So the other one I want to mention was this record, which a friend of mine from BBC called Simon Hodge, who's the programmer for Craig Charles' show, he's the producer, he put me onto this, and I found the 7. It's by the Raiders. It's quite an unknown song. It's called Finger Licking Chicken. That's just amazing. There's also this, which is an absolute classic, Bo Diddley-itis. I got that on the 7 as well.
Show that again.
By Bo Diddley. That's a fantastic record. It's live actually, that it just sounds really well recorded. So going back, to this. This is the Barrel House woman that I spoke about earlier, champion Jack Dupree, that I spent a long time trying to find this.
What label's that on?
This is on the Decca label.
Right.
As I said, I was introduced to this from the compilation. And that was actually one track that I did remix and put out on Whack. Did it on a 12-inch actually. Yeah, so there you go.
Oh, go on then, Smoove, you can fit another one disc in before you scoot off back to your New York City studio over the road. Something unusual would be nice to finish off with there, that would be great. Something I can dance to a little bit.
This was the first record on my wants list. My cousin actually made me a tape, and it was like loads of jazz funk from the UK and stuff, and some American as well. And there was one song there, it was the most bizarre song, and I spent ages trying to find this record. In the end, I went to Windows, and they used to have a record shop downstairs, and they had racks of sevens in the back, not in the shop, like in the back. And the guy at the counter, he was really helpful. Wish I could remember him, but I remember telling him, "Oh, this record I've been looking for," and he went, "I'll go and look." He says, "Go into town, so it'll take me ages to look, and come back." And sure enough, I went back and he went, "I've got it," and I couldn't believe it. It's from 1982, and it's just the most bonkers record. I like the dub mix, so I'm going to play the dub mix. It's called "Girl, I Like the Way You Move" by Stone. Brings great memories back, this.